And that's when I realized that he was a ghost. I mean, I realized it because the movie told me that he was a ghost. It was a really crazy twist. Yeah. Good movie though. Really good movie. Yep. Say, can I ask you a question? Okay. Okay. I mean, can you answer? Whether I can ask you a question? I mean, if you're gonna answer a question with a question, I mean, I'll take that. I'm totally game. Yep, this is awkward. This is awkward. I mean, if you would answer like that, that would be great. That would be a great way to, see if you're still back there or have a pulse. Because I get anxious. I get really anxious, just like when somebody shoot me a text and I respond to their text and I don't hear back from them, and then they're like, "Oh, did I get my text?" And I text them like 35 times, and then they get mad at me and they didn't want to talk to me anymore, and I just like that's what happens. I get frantic, I get anxious, and then I just push people away. Wow. That's what happens. You're pretty good at this. You're pretty good. Wow. I don't think I would have gotten here without you not saying anything. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, psychotherapy is weird. Psychotherapy is, in some ways, just like any other human helping relationship. And in other ways, it's a very different kind of relationship. Psychotherapy is really an art, a science, but more importantly, an empathic human relationship. Hi, I'm Dr. Daniel Jose Gastambide. I'd like to talk to you today about 5 reasons why psychotherapists, especially perhaps your psychotherapist, may not answer all of your questions. This is an issue that comes up a lot, both for patients as well as for therapists in their own therapies, if they're in their own therapy, which is why can't the therapist just answer the frickin' question? Why do they always have to answer a question with a question? Well, why do they do that? What does it mean? Well, with these 5 reasons, I hope to shed a little bit of light as to why therapists operate in this fashion. These are things that can often be a source of some strife, and I think if we're just a little bit more transparent as to why we handle questions in a certain way, it can maybe help people feel a little bit more comfortable sitting with the ambiguity and the uncertainty of what's going on, and perhaps get a sense of why it is that we do this to begin with. So let's take a look at 5 reasons why a therapist, perhaps even your therapist, doesn't answer all of your questions. Number 1, they're trying to understand your question. Sometimes people ask us questions and they want an answer right away, and we really want to think through the question. We want to make sure that we understand it. Sometimes we will ask questions around the question in order to sharpen it, in order to make it more clear, in order to perhaps draw out other questions and concerns that you may not have verbalized or perhaps thought about in the moment, but in exploring it a little bit, we can go, oh, gee, I guess I was thinking about those other things also. So the first reason why really has to do with clarifying the nature of the question so that we can give you a pretty honest and perhaps surprisingly straightforward response or answer. This is related to the second reason why we may not answer your question directly, which is that we might be interested in what I like to call the question behind the question. Sometimes when patients ask me things like, are you married? Do you have children? Where do you live? What kind of therapy do you practice? Whatever. Sometimes I and we therapists have a sense that the question isn't really about that question. There's actually a question behind the question, which may be, gee, can I relate to you? Can you understand me? Will you be able to get me in a really deep way? Or perhaps I'm anxious that you won't understand me. I'm worried that if we don't share something in common, you might reject me. You might punish me. You might judge me. Psychotherapy, we want to get at those questions behind the question, because if we get at the question behind the question, it can help us understand what really worries you. And if we can get to what really worries you and what really bothers you, we can ultimately make the therapy more effective and more helpful to you. Now, another reason why and yes, I did cheat and looked at my screen because I have a really terrible short-term working memory, so I just refreshed my memory just now. We want to teach you how to fish. Now, what does that mean? There's that old saying, of course. You can give a person a fish, they eat for a day. Teach a person how to fish, they eat for a lifetime. Sometimes when patients ask us questions, sometimes when you ask us questions, you want an answer because you want to fix the problem. You want to resolve it right there, right here, right now. Well, let's take a moment and think about other relationships in our lives where we look to for answers. We may ask our family members for an answer to our question. We may ask our friends for advice. And sometimes we follow that advice, maybe, but still realize that we're still dealing with the same problem later down the line. Or we don't actually follow our friends and our family members' advice and still deal with the same problem. In order to help you learn how to feed yourself, we may push you to try to really think through the question. Again, because sometimes the question itself may be part of the problem. Maybe you're not asking the right questions, and we want you to ask some much deeper questions about the problem. We want to help you fish. We want to help you eat for a lifetime. We want to help you learn how to discover long-term solutions. Number 4. They may not be comfortable with the question. That, of course, depends on the question, depends on the individual therapist, but sometimes therapists aren't comfortable answering certain questions. They may hit a little too close to home, or trying to think about answering them may distract them from really focusing on you. And a good therapist will let you know. A good therapist will let you know what? I understand that there may be reasons why you're asking me this question, and maybe we should spend some time talking about what those reasons are. But right now, I don't really feel comfortable answering this question. And if I'm not feeling comfortable answering that question, then that could distract me from focusing on helping you. Last but not least, we may not answer these questions, or we may not answer them directly, because we want to place the focus of our work squarely on you and at most perhaps our relationship. The relationship can be very useful in helping you work through certain problems. However, ultimately, the tilt of any therapy should be on you, because you're the one that we're trying to serve. You're the one that we will have made a commitment to. We don't want to make it about us. We have our own therapist for that sort of thing. So, I hope that these 5 reasons help shed some light on this very particular dynamic in psychotherapy. I hope that it's useful to you. All that being said, wish you luck on your psychotherapy journey. Take care. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There we go.
You got any gum?